Arjun was just a boy from a small village. No grand titles, no big promises, just a kid with a dream. His family was poor. Every day was a grind. Early mornings in the fields, late nights doing chores. Life wasn't about dreams there. It was about survival. But Arjun's heart wasn't wired like everyone else's. While other kids accepted their fate, Arjun stared across the dusty fields at the school in the next village. It wasn't fancy, just a small building where children played and learned. But to Arjun, it was everything. That school meant hope. That school meant a future where he could lift his family out of the dirt and struggle. There was just one problem. His village didn't have a school, and his parents couldn't afford to send him away. Every time he brought it up, they shut him down. "We need you in the fields, Arjun. Books won't put food on the table." So Arjun swallowed his frustration and worked. But inside, the fire kept burning. He started small. He borrowed old, worn-out books from kids in the neighboring village. He couldn't sit in their classroom, but he could read their leftovers. At night, after the world went quiet, Arjun lit a tiny lamp and read. The light was dim, his body was tired, and the words sometimes blurred together, but he refused to quit. His family noticed. "Why are you wasting your time? Our life is hard, Arjun. Dreams don't change that." But Arjun didn't argue. He just nodded, went back to work in the fields, and studied when no one was watching. Weeks turned into months. Progress was slow, painfully slow. Every page felt like a battle. His hands were calloused from labor, and his eyes stung from the weak light. And the worst enemy wasn't the work or the pain. It was doubt. One evening, after a brutal day under the sun, Arjun walked home. His body screamed for rest, but his mind was heavier. He looked at the distant school again. A cruel thought crept in. What if I never get there? What if all this effort is worthless? That's when he met the old man. Just a stranger sitting by the road, watching him with calm eyes. "You look troubled, boy. What's weighing on you?" Arjun didn't plan to talk, but the words spilled out. His dream, his struggle, his fear that none of it would ever matter. The old man listened. Then he smiled. Not a big, flashy smile, but a knowing one. "Listen to me, Arjun. Success doesn't shout. It grows quietly. You know the bamboo tree? It spends years growing roots underground where no one sees. But when the time is right, it shoots up fast, tall and strong. You must be like that bamboo. Stay patient. Keep going." Arjun stood there, letting the words sink in. For the first time in weeks, the weight in his chest lifted just a little. Arjun went home that evening with a different kind of fire inside him. The old man's words stuck. Patience, like bamboo. So he kept at it. Night after night. Even when his back ached and his eyelids felt like they weighed a ton, he opened those borrowed books. Slowly, the letters made sense. Slowly, the numbers stopped dancing on the page. But it was lonely work. No one cheered for him. No one believed. Months passed. The seasons changed. And then, something happened that no one in the village saw coming. News spread that a new school was being built, right in Arjun's village. For Arjun, it felt unreal. His heart pounded. The school wasn't just a building to him. It was the door he'd been banging on for years. And now, that door was opening. When the school finally stood ready, painted and plain but solid, Arjun was the first to sign up. His hands shook when he held the chalk for the first time, but inside, he was steady. He was ready. But reality hit fast. His new classmates weren't starting from zero like him. They'd been learning for years. They could read full paragraphs, solve sums, and write without stopping to think. Arjun, on the other hand, stumbled over simple sentences. Every day felt like running a race where he started miles behind. And the whispers started. He's too old for this. Why's he even trying? He's a farmer's son. He should stick to that. Those words cut deep. There were days when Arjun wanted to throw his books in the river and walk away. Days when he sat under that same tree where he once dreamed and thought about quitting. But then, he remembered the bamboo. Roots first, Arjun. Roots first. So he doubled down. He studied while others played. He asked questions when others laughed. At night, while the village slept, his lamp flickered and his mind fought to catch up. The teachers started to notice. At first they thought he was just desperate, but as weeks turned into months, his progress was impossible to ignore. He wasn't the smartest yet, but he was the hungriest. He showed up early, stayed late, took every failure and turned it into fuel. The same kids who once whispered started watching. Some even came to him for help when they struggled. Step by painful step, Arjun was closing the gap. By the time a year had passed, Arjun wasn't the boy lagging behind anymore. He was leading. The teachers, once cautious with their praise, now called on him first. His answers were sharp. His handwriting, once shaky, now ran smooth across the page. His math? Solid? His reading? Confident? The same kids who once mocked him now wanted to sit beside him, hoping a little of that grit would rub off. But Arjun wasn't interested in showing off. He remembered every hard night, every doubting voice, every tear he shed when no one was watching. And that kept him grounded. Then came the big exam, the one that would decide who among the students would move on to a scholarship program in the city. The prize? A fully funded education, a chance to rise even higher. For Arjun, this was it. The night before the exam, he went back to the old tree where he used to sit and dream. He closed his eyes and let the silence wash over him. No books, no notes, just a deep breath and a quiet promise to himself. Do your best. Nothing less. The next day he wrote with everything he had. Every fact, every formula, every word he fought so hard to learn. When the results came out, the village buzzed. Parents whispered, kids ran around shouting, Arjun had topped the class. The boy who once borrowed torn books and studied by a flickering lamp had become the best student in the village. Years passed, but Arjun didn't stop. He used the scholarship to study in the city. A place that once felt like a distant dream when he stared at that school building from his field. He faced new challenges there, but after everything he'd been through, nothing could shake him. Eventually, Arjun returned to his village, not as a farmer's son struggling to get by, but as a teacher. He built a school even bigger than the one that first opened its doors to him. And this time, no kid had to stand on the outside, looking in. He taught them not just math or reading, but the lesson that changed his life: patience and perseverance. The bamboo lesson. Grow your roots deep, work in silence, and when the time is right, rise so high no one can ignore you. And the best part? Arjun wasn't done. Every child he taught was a new bamboo shoot, waiting to break through the surface. His story wasn't just about him anymore. It became the story of a whole village that learned to believe in patience, hard work, and the power of not giving up, no matter how tough things get.